with Lindsay and Neely, and good morning
Or good afternoon.
or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Do you have your coffee this morning?
I sure do. This afternoon, I have my coffee. I
Yeah,
just have plain old black decaf coffee.
I have decaf coffee with raw cream.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, I probably shouldn't say that here on the YouTube. I'm going to get canceled, but um,
You could have said real cream.
fresh cream. We'll call it fresh.
Fresh.
Yeah, I did the legwork to find a farm in the area that does the cow share thing to make it all legal. It's all above board.
That is
Um,
so awesome.
and yeah, so we're doing that. We haven't died yet,
Woohoo.
so we're
I
excited.
think it's in Murray, Utah. They had a dairy there, and you could buy raw milk. You would buy the raw milk and then drain off the cream. And because of that, like they were allowed to have their own store on that only sold their milk.
Okay.
So that was the way that they could legally sell their milk, and they put it in regular old milk jugs.
Oh
It was
yeah.
probably like $7 to $8 a gallon at that time. So I'm sure it's probably close to like $15 a gallon at this point.
I'm paying $15 a gallon. Yeah. Which, hey, think of the nutrients. That's what I always say. Think of the nutrients.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong.
Yeah. So
But
anyways,
also, you could get goat milk once you finally have a nanny that's been fully bred.
one day that will happen, but it is not today. I still am super nervous about that. Not that it's going to be a difficult process, but just the commitment,
dedication to it.
the commitment. Yeah. Chris Bear, $15 a gallon for fresh milk straight from the farm.
$15 a gallon.
Not for coffee, and not $15 a gallon for cream. That would be a good deal.
That would be an amazing deal.
I would take that deal any day of the week.
Right? Currently, the what is it? Oh, it's like the organic cream that's like mainstream. That one is like $5 and change for just a pint.
Oh, okay. So there's my favorite cream besides, Farm Fresh, that I can buy at the store is the A2 Alexandria cream.
Get that one.
It's like $9 a pint. Yeah, it's crazy expensive. It used to be less, and I just watched the price go up, and I'm like, how high am I willing to go here? And I'll still buy it occasionally, but I can't do it all the time. It's just
no.
Yeah. But
that's really hard.
The kids have gotten into really liking milk. Like we weren't a milk drinking family for a really long time. Because from the days I was paleo, like milk is not included, dairy is not included.
Right.
And so I just kind of minimized it at that point. And so they just didn't grow up drinking it. And then for whatever reason, they've just really gotten into milk in the last year, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys are going to be drinking milk, we're going to try to, get the most bang for our buck here. And
right.
And like we live in an area where
it's accessible to a degree.
We should. Like there's no reason to buy it at the grocery store when we can get it from the farm.
Oh yeah.
That brings me to I have been not like systematically or like really intensely, but just slowly moving towards not going to the grocery store as much. And it's been kind of a slow thing, but I'm like,
it has to be.
Yeah. I'm like, I wonder how far I can get. Like how little I can how little I can go to the grocery store.
For sure. I feel like paper products are likely to still be a Costco thing
yeah, we're not going to be making our own toilet paper on the farm, stuff like that. But it's like, if we get like a side of beef every once in a while, and we get, our eggs that we have here, if we get milk from a local farm, and then if I've been looking for a good like produce farm.
Yeah.
Where, and that's, obviously in season you can get a lot of stuff, but just like on a regular basis, try to find something that sources more locally. if I can do all of those things, like, what else do we really need? Like, we'd probably be really healthy if we just left everything else out. Like, what else do I get at Costco? Lots of cheese.
Cheese is hard.
That's one thing. It would be great to find a local, farm fresh cheese, but not quite there yet. So anyways, it's a super slow process, but I'm like, I like how it feels to like not need to go to the grocery store as much.
Well, and then you have that like opportunity to build relationship in your community. And like, okay, now we're going to go to the produce stand and we're going to see Joe at the produce stand. And hey, we're going to go over to this spot and we're going to get our dairy from Miss Sue or whoever it is. And it's like, it's just interesting. We have this one road that we drive every time that we're trying to come into town or go home from town. And there's this one guy and he's always sitting in his front living room with his windows always wide open. It does not matter what time of day or night it is. And he has a sign. We used to think his name, well, we made up a name, or rather our neighbors made up a name and named him Floyd because they didn't know his name, but they always saw him around. And so we started calling him Floyd too. And then we figured out he put up a neon sign in his front window and we couldn't tell what it read until one day we were like stuck behind farm equipment going 3 miles an hour. And we finally looked over and it said Henry's. And I was like, oh, it's Henry. So now it's like we always wave at Henry's house whenever we pass by. And it's like you develop that community thing, even though it's like, okay, this produce stand probably has like hundreds of people coming through it. So the likelihood of them like knowing your name is going to be like a gradual process, but like, it. Yeah. It becomes like your familiarity place.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. And speaking of like making those connections, so I told you a couple weeks ago that I started my boot camp, or I was about to start, and then I, almost died.
Last week you didn't die.
Yeah, but almost. And so I've still been doing it. I've been doing great. I'm so proud of myself. Yesterday I got through all of the mountain climber sessions without having to like stop. Like when I was first doing it, it was like I'd have to like go into child's pose for a second because my arms were like giving out. I got through all of them. I got through all of the burpees. It was 4 sets of burpees, and I got through all of them without having to modify.
Yeah.
Anyway, so all of that to say, when I was leaving the class last night, the teacher asked another one of the gals that she knew there. She's like, "Do you know of anybody that has eggs right now?"
And you were like, "Oh, me."
So
how many dozens can you take?
Exactly. So I was like, tell me how many you need. I'll bring them on Thursday. And so I've already, sold 6 dozen eggs on Thursday. And the teacher was like, if you ever want to do like trade eggs for exercise, class, like, let's do that. I was like, yes.
Down. Yes.
Those little community
barterings
there. It's just great. I like it. And I don't think that we'll ever get to where we're 100% away from Costco or any other grocery store or anything like that. And that's not necessarily my goal. Like, I don't see that as like this huge
objective.
Yeah. But the more that we can get things locally from real people that we know, I think the better. So it makes me happy. All right. We got lots going on in the chat here.
Hello, everyone in the chat.
Hello, everyone. Dustin is here. He was here first, I believe, and Jennifer is here, and Blaze is here. Let's see, and Sylvia is here. Chris Bear is here, of course, and Miriam Bear is here.
Miriam!
Yes.
I just emailed her today.
Oh, excellent. It's always a fun time emailing Miriam.
Yeah, it's like old-timey things if you were born this century. Or...
Okay. Jackie is here and Sing It is here. Let's see who else. Living for Life is here.
Hello.
She said, I assume she, but I don't know for sure. Your chickens would love the whey off the milk. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. I know chickens love kombucha scobies.
Ooh, so that's where all the SCOBY babies go?
Yeah, and well, and I haven't made kombucha, since we've had chickens, but I was like, in my mind, I'm like, that would be so nice to not have to throw those away or whatever, because they just reproduce so fast.
Pile up.
But that's one great thing about having chickens, and I imagine about having other animals like pigs and stuff, is like nothing goes to waste. It all gets recycled into something else. So it's like if I can take a flop in the kitchen and turn it back into eggs, I'm like, this is this is fantastic.
We are winning.
Yes.
It's like a natural garbage disposal.
Yes. Well, it is better than a garbage disposal because it's actually like producing something else.
Absolutely.
Better.
Well, I mean, like I think our garbage disposal goes to the drain field. So technically it produces more grass.
Yeah. Or compost.
Like earthworms and creatures.
It's a great circle of life.
I love the Lion King.
Okay. Joanne is here. Let's see. What does she say? Just watching Indigo on the last vlog, and beep goes the notification for a live. Yay. And hello. Let's see. Having collagen and cold water organic decaf beans of gingerbread Mateo.
I'm gonna need clarity on that one. I'm struggling to make connections on that one.
But all of those words sound delicious. Chris was talking on his live stream the other day about making sure you stock up on your heavy cream before it goes out of stock everywhere before Thanksgiving.
I feel like because I do buy the organic cream, that one tends to go out of stock way more slowly. But I also know that because it's more expensive, but I'm unwilling to buy the store brand one at this stage in the game, just because like it just doesn't taste the same.
I feel like here the organic goes out of stock faster, and maybe that's
because you're in crunchy land.
Yeah.
All of the crunchies are where you are.
Yes. Okay. Mateo thin sugar-free syrup in the decaf coffee. Okay, that makes better sense. But it does sound delicious. Clarity. It does sound delicious. Oh yeah, Dustin says he's gonna run out and get a month's worth of and like we're perpetuating the out of stockness of the heavy cream by telling everyone to go buy it all out. But
I want to know, does he get a kickback from the grocery stores? Is that why?
Oh, it must be.
It has to be. It has to be.
Oh, and the price point is going up on the cream. I wonder if they do that like around the holidays where.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
They always have great sales on things, but then probably the baseline price pops up.
For sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Miriam is saying, I love you not going to the grocery stores often. I need to do that too. I'm such an impulse buyer. Yes. And I so struggle with because it's always deals for me. I do buy things that look yummy too, just because it looks yummy. But most of the time it's like, oh, that's such a good deal. I need to get that good deal. And it's a struggle because sometimes that's a really good thing. And you do end up getting great deals for things that you actually use.
Sure.
But then what percentage of the time is it not really a good deal? And would it have been better if you just hadn't gone to the grocery store at all and not seen the deal at all? And I struggle with that.
I do too. When it comes to the fact that we bought the beef, I feel like that was, that was an upfront investment, but our beef wound up being sub $5 a pound for everything. And before that, I was buying our ground beef at close to $6 a pound. So it's that's absolutely a great deal. And it technically was not an impulse. But when I am at the store and I'm thinking to myself oh, okay, I've already got this much coffee at home. We go through about this much per week, but just in case the price jacks up again, because the price on it would go up about $2 to $3 every month. It would go up a few dollars and then it would come back down. So anytime it would be down, I'd think, okay, I should buy 2 of these because the price is going to jack back up $3 more per bag. And so that's just going to be wasted money. And that is something that we actually use. But if it was something we didn't know if we were going to use it.
Yeah, I've done that too many times. Well, so I just did exactly what you just described recently with the egg white powder, where
this deal doesn't quit.
I know the 1.2 pound buckets are still on sale for $11.07 or something.
And is the big 5 pounds still at $40?
No, that one is done. Although it was done and then it came back. So I don't know. I don't know what is going on, but it was such a good deal. I was like, I have so much egg white powder, but I'm not passing up this deal.
Yeah. I mean, and I noticed on mine that the date wasn't close to expiring at all, because that was a concern. If they're going to drop the price tag this much, then is the price, oh my stars.
What?
Oh, that's pea protein. Disregard.
That stupid pea protein gets everybody. It's like stupid. I don't know. Maybe that's like a trick to try to get people to go plant-based on the protein. Be like, oh, it's so much cheaper. I'll just do that.
Gross. Yeah, the 1.2 pound is still $11.07 right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So if anyone needs egg white powder, that is a good deal as long as you use it. If you're not going to use it, don't buy it, because it's not a good deal if you don't use it.
That's
it takes up space and it costs money.
We all have to remind ourselves of that on a regular basis.
Yes. Speaking of pea protein, I was at Trader Joe's a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they have a like keto protein bar.
Okay.
I think it's pretty new.
Okay.
And I'll try it. Like, why not? Like, it's a new product. It's supposed to be keto. The ingredients were not like anything magical, but it wasn't terrible.
Okay.
But it was plant-based. And so the protein, I didn't even look at what kind of protein. I think it was probably pea protein. I took one bite and I was like, this is horrible. It was so gross. Like the chocolate coating on the outside, you like take the first bite and you're like, oh, it's not going to be so bad. And then the flavor hits you and you're like, and the texture too. Anyways, the chickens got those. They were so bad. And like, if I buy something, I'll be like, well, I'll just eat it because I paid for it.
It's a sunk cost.
Buy it again. Like I won't buy another one, but I'll eat it because that one I was like, this is not even worth taking another bite. This was so bad.
That's awful.
That's pea protein for you.
No, that's nasty. Hey, really quickly, Beth Carter is the most recent comment there. She asked a question.
Okay. What peanut butter powder do you recommend? So many have sugar and other ingredients I can't tolerate. Do you have one?
I do. And mine is this Naked PB. Oh. It is literally just peanuts.
Okay. Okay. So it's just, and is defatted peanut flour or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The one that I get that's actually out for delivery today.
Oh, wow.
Amazon is, let me find it here, is this one.
Oh, sure.
PB2 Pure. And this one's not organic.
Okay.
I think they do have one that's organic as well. But yeah, it's also has just roasted peanuts as the ingredient.
Yeah. It doesn't have any salt or anything.
No.
Okay, good deal.
Only roasted peanuts. And was yours organic?
Mine is GMO free.
Okay.
And soy free and gluten free. Single ingredient.
Yes.
I've found good results with that particular one. So and it's comparable cost wise. And to be honest with you, another thing that I like about it is that the packaging is very like no nonsense clean. There's not a lot of imaging on it.
Yeah, I haven't gotten
into that. Silly.
I haven't gotten into that Naked brand. Don't they have a lot of things?
I think they do have a variety of items. That's the only item that I have tried from their SKU list.
Yeah. Oops.
You're welcome. Okay. I don't know where we were before that, but that was like a question that I was like, I know how to answer that one.
Yay. Yay. Let's see. Oh, Sing It was asking, were you gals friends with the Bears before Ketoville? And it feels like it.
It does.
Like in my heart, it feels like we've always been friends.
Right.
But no, we met through the keto world, which is fantastic.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing though, like I lived in the same sort of vicinity as the Bears live and function and operate. And I went to church in Draper, which is, like where the Keto Chow USA lives. And so it's like one of those deals where the likelihood that we ever cross, now Salt Lake City Metro is kind of large. So it's, it's hard to like know if you've ever run into somebody.
Yeah.
But for the vast majority of it is like there could have been a possibility. There could have been a chance that we had met or come across one another at some point.
You could have honked at Chris for cutting you off in traffic or something.
Or he could have honked at me for cutting him off. I don't know.
Absolutely. Like that could have happened.
It could have happened. And so Chris does like to mention how even whenever I lived there, I didn't bother with becoming friends with them at that time. And all I can say is that I think that there's a solid reason for the time and place in which we did get to become friends.
It was meant to be in the way that it was meant to be.
That's right.
So Chris has another question for us. Are we ready for this?
I don't know. Are we ready for this?
I mean, I feel like we have to. I was going to ask them, like, what would be a good
time? Appropriate?
Yeah, but I guess now is as good a time as any because why not?
Yeah. Hey, are y'all busy in May of 2024? We just got to know first of all.
Check your calendar real quick, and
like
see
middle of May.
It looks like
not the Hack Your Health Keto Con thing, but middle May. Are you ready?
Yes. Anybody busy in the middle of May? All right, you want to say it?
And do you want to go to one of the more gorgeous parts of the country? Question mark.
Yeah.
My personal preference.
Of course they do.
This particular time zone happens to be my personal favorite.
Okay. Big announcement. Big announcement is Lindsay and I have been invited, and we have accepted the invitation to speak and attend the Keto Chow meetup in May, the middle of May. Yay! So we're still trying to figure out what of value we have to offer, to the people there. That's gonna take some doing, but we're excited.
We're so excited. Yes. I'm so excited to get to go back to Utah. I stinking love Utah. If you have never seen the sunset over like the Salt Lake region, it's breathtaking. Also the sunrise. I just love the Rockies. They're so gorgeous.
Yeah. I have not, well, I've probably driven through Utah. No, I have driven through Utah and stayed there. It was when I was pregnant with Autumn, I think was the last time that I spent more than 24 hours in Utah.
That has been a minute.
Yes. And so we are considering taking a family road trip to the Utah. And so it might not just be me and Lindsay, but there might be some little mini me's along. I don't know how much they would be at the Keto Chow meetup or if Jeff would want to take them off to do something else, but
listen, if he does want to take them to do something different, side-by-siding down in southern Utah is absolutely a highlight.
Yeah, I'm sure. I like
throwing that one out there.
Fun things to do.
Yeah.
Anyways, so there you go. The announcement has been made.
I don't know if it's going to be just me coming or if my husband and the girls can also come. We are not really too sure about that. With his scheduling, it's just it's just a, hold your breath and pray kind of a situation. So
yeah, it's hard to make plans so far in advance too with
given his particular job, it is very, very difficult to give solid hard dates.
It looks like we have Suzanne to thank.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Invited as speakers.
Chris says that we were more excited about Miriam than him. So now he's trying to say Murph Gerard better be there.
Yeah, seriously. For Jeff.
Well, for Jeff and for Chris. I feel like it's a necessity.
It is.
But I also feel like Jared would be the one to be like, hey, so about that side-by-siding down in like St. George.
Okay, well, I think Jeff got it into his head that he was personally invited to the Keto Chow compound to help develop all the new flavors of Keto Chow. Like that's in his mind, that's what's happening on this trip.
If you dream it, they will come.
So he's like telling me all his ideas about all the Keto Chow flavors.
What is a flavor that seems rather safe that he wants to find a perfect recipe?
He told me I can't tell because he has to work out the details with Chris as far as,
So your carpenter husband
for free. These are like money in the bank ideas.
So your carpenter contract husband wants to shift gears and become a chemist of food things.
Yeah. He prides himself on his ability to think of brilliant flavor combinations.
What if for a savory soup, it was jalapeno popper soup?
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll tell you one that he put out there the other night was
you can't tell us.
Peanut butter pickle.
For the pregnant ladies?
Yes. It's for the new pregnancy line.
Jeff's going places, people. I don't know where, but he's going places.
Yeah, seriously. Let's see. Chris says, Jeff is absolutely invited. I have a lot of reject flavors to come and mess around with. Yeah.
What if Jeff happens to be the linchpin in figuring out how to make cherry that doesn't taste like cough syrup?
It's possible, although Jeff doesn't like any of the fruity flavors.
Well, then he would be the perfect one to figure it out because he would be the one to like say no.
Yeah, well, so the two crazy ketos, they were, contracted to do all of the coffee shop flavors. And Jeff was thinking that maybe he could do all of the hard liquor flavors.
I'm going to need a minute with that.
And I was like, well, you probably need Jared to help you with that because you really don't drink a lot of, it's like you're not a connoisseur of all of these things.
I don't really think that's
help.
I don't think that's gonna taste very. I already have a bit of heartburn with the idea of that.
Yeah, he was saying that one of his favorite milkshakes to get at McMinimans here is the Terminator Stout milkshake. It's like a chocolate milkshake with Terminator Stout in it. And just like a little bit, like as a flavoring. And I was like, okay, that sounds fine. Like a chocolate milkshake with a little bit of, I don't know. But
I mean, I think of
do a Moscow Keto Chow.
I think that turning spirits into Keto Chow makes me think you just add apple cider vinegar to any of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then he was like a kombucha flavor. And I was like,
okay, now if he could figure out.
You need kombucha?
But listen, two crazy ketos figured out chai latte. If you could figure out a kombucha.
Yeah.
That could be pretty cool.
Yeah, I just don't know that the milky creaminess goes with the apple cider or the vinegariness of kombucha. I don't know.
But
maybe I'm willing to be wrong.
If it were to be done with the beef protein.
Oh, okay.
And then it could be more like instead of it, like how boba tea has kind of like a little bit of a thickness to it.
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to let Chris and Jeff hash all of this out when Jeff comes for his consulting visit to Utah.
Just know that if he goes down the Spirit train, I'm going to just have to sit back and watch from the station and just wait.
Says, tell Jeff that Renee will be the one who will help develop the flavors. Absolutely.
That feels right.
I mean, anything she comes up with will be a winner. And it will also include peanut butter.
I mean, a solid.
That girl eats more peanut butter than anyone I know.
It's a good thing she's not allergic.
Yeah. Well, and then she just eats it straight. Like she doesn't even need it on anything. She's just like peanut butter.
Yeah.
Which I remember my dad would do that growing up where it'd be like he needed a snack after dinner and he'd just get the peanut butter jar and just a big spoonful of peanut butter.
Dip it out.
He must have got it from him.
Totally. Not that you've ever done anything like that.
No. Who would do that? All right.
The thing I don't like about dipping out a full spoon of peanut butter is the fact that it like sticks to the roof of your mouth. And I'm one of those people where if I get a hard candy, even like back before not eating candies, like I would still like get it in, like pop it in my mouth, wait about 30 seconds, and then I would crunch it all away and it would be gone. And it was one of those like intended to be a slow melt kind of a situation, you know, like if it's a hard peppermint or a hard butterscotch candy, like I would still, it couldn't just rest and dissolve in my mouth. I had to crunch it down and swallow it and then demand another.
Yes. Yeah. The slow doesn't work well.
Oh, fun thing I did. I took vanilla keto chow, like the original vanilla that, you know, is kind of just like your humdrum vanilla, like pretty basic. And I turned it into some creamies. Now I did amp up the vanilla flavor by adding vanilla extract.
Okay.
And I took a third of the mixture because I did 2 servings I did enough for 3 creamy dishes or containers, 2 vanilla. And then I took the third one and instead of adding extra, I did add extra vanilla, but I also added peppermint extract and it made the best candy cane flavor, Ninja Creamy ever. I love peppermint. I mean, I love a lot of things, let's be honest, but it turned out to be a phenomenal peppermint ice cream.
That sounds really good.
It was so good.
Like the flavors, when you make a creamy, it just gets muted because of the frozen nature of it. But like peppermint extract is going to cut through anything.
That one will definitely cut through bricks.
Yes. That sounds really good. That's a great way to
it was
mix it up.
So good.
Okay.
And it didn't take a lot of peppermint either. I want to say like out of my little like dealy bop, it was probably 1/8 of a teaspoon. And it was fantastic. All 3 of my girls were just like little baby birds, just like chirping, waiting for me to dip out another spoon for them.
Yeah. So Jen Bob is in Utah. So you're definitely coming. Yes, that'll be awesome. Let's see. Talk of a chocolate malt flavor, talk of a hot toddy flavor. Now, what is hot toddy? It's coffee, right?
No, I think that one is supposed to be like either, I don't know if it's supposed to be like a rum or a bourbon or something like that in hot water with lemon and honey or something like that. And I remember on Home Improvement that Jill, she got sick and Wilson next door gave her a hot toddy and then she became inebriated and didn't realize she was sick anymore.
Yeah, it sounds like an old person drink. Let me see. I want to see what it.
So the peppermint, Miriam is excited about the peppermint concept. And then Chris says, no peppermint for you. I tell you what, though, the next time I make peppermint, I'm going to mix it into chocolate core and have a chocolate peppermint situation for the next creamy that I do.
Oh, it's going to be good.
Sounds divine. Divine. And the thing of it is like, I feel like peppermint is slightly different than regular mint, which is slightly different than spearmint. Like all of the mint families, to me, they do have a slightly different taste.
Wintergreen.
And so, yeah. And so adding in like the real peppermint. I think that adding that one with the cream and the vanilla really did amp up the whole, like, this feels like a true candy cane kind of flavor.
Typically, I will just do, like, adding mint to chocolate, which is great.
Sure.
Just to have that creamy mint. I think I'm gonna have to do that one. Okay, so hot toddy, also known as hot whiskey in Ireland, is typically a mixed drink made of liquor and water with honey, lemon, herbs, and spices, and served hot. Okay. Yes. Fascinating. Fascinating. Okay. Let's see. Was there anything else in the chat we wanted to address before we move on to our topic of the day?
Chocolate brownie batter flavor from Sir Dustin.
Yes, please. I will take 21
18
of
dozen. Yes, and thank you.
Yes, a candy cane flavor would be fun.
I tell you what, though.
It's so easy to make yourself.
It really is. I feel like vanilla cream from either the regular line or the core line. I feel like the regular line, it kind of lends itself to a creamier experience.
Protein.
Yeah. And so that one with just a few drops of some, actual peppermint extract, divine.
Yeah, I'm going to have to try that. I never think to do that, but I need to do it. Let's see. What's this one from Crystal? Just finished a chai latte keto chow with half butter, half beef tallow with extra sucralose drops and a shot of daily minerals.
Delightful.
Yes.
I want to know if it tasted frosting-esque, because the tallow, for some reason, it makes everything that I try it with taste like frosting.
Like a glaze, yeah. I was gonna say I still haven't done it, but I need to try the chai latte flavor with black tea instead of water, because I feel like that's just what it needs. But okay. So switching topics completely, because we've been talking about keto chow for quite some time, but we got a question last week, a very simple question, and we kind of pushed it off to this week because it was right towards the end, but it was just simply, what are our thoughts on carnivore? Carnivore is so stinking popular right now. Like, keto is taking the back seat, and carnivore is just where it's at. And so what do you want to start, like, just overview? What do you think of carnivore?
Okay, so first and foremost, I love meat. I love animal products. I think that a diet without those is not life at all. And so I will not, in any foreseeable future, be eliminating animal foods from my life. When it comes to carnivore, I think that the idea is fantastic if you're trying to manage an acute situation and trying to simplify your input so that you can sort of get to the root and then navigate coming through that. I also think that a life without the fun stuff like keto chow that's still friendly, or Brussels sprouts, or any of the different like things that I can create on a keto friendly way of life, that if I can't do those things, it doesn't feel as sustainable. And the reason I've been on this way of eating since beginning of 2016 is because it has enough variety to keep my brain from becoming just like lethargic, or just mentally exhausted. And it has been palatable for all of the different textures and flavors that I would like to have on my way of life, or way of eating, or diet, if you will. So I think it's a fantastic protocol for acute situations, as long as you can sustain that, as long as you need to. As far as it being a long-term lifestyle, it's not for me.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with you completely. I also think that the carnivore option is an amazing tool to have in our pocket for those times where the body is so broken, so reactive, that even the smallest bits of plant foods or things like that can trigger inflammation and all kinds of other things going on in the body. So, like just for me, coming from having digestive issues and skin issues and all these different things, to have that in my pocket it gives me like this peace where it's like, I know that if, things got bad, I would be able to have some amount of control, because I have the tool of carnivore. And so carnivore strips away anything, nearly anything that could be causing inflammation in the body. Meat typically is one of the least inflammatory things you can eat, and like animal fats and eggs are, for some people it's not good. But as far as like just the meat, it's like if you need to because of the place your body is in, like meat is where it's at. Like that's gonna get you back to, zero. And then, you can rebuild from there. But there is, of course, the mindset that, first of all, it's the best way to eat, that we were designed to live like lions and not ever, like we were never meant to eat plant foods, at all. And I don't really agree with that. As far as like just looking at the human species, I can be like, I just don't think that's true. Now, if someone said, even though we can eat plant foods, you're still going to get your best health by eating only animal foods. Okay, maybe like that's a possibility. Like I'm open to that being a possibility. But like you, I do appreciate variety. And I also recognize the health benefits of being engaged in your community and being like the health that you get from being socially connected. And unless you live in a community of carnivores, if you did, you would get your social needs totally met and you could enter into all the meals. And sometimes I'm like, wow, that just would be so nice, But
Yeah.
that's not where I live, and not, most people in America don't live in that kind of a environment. So because of that, I prioritize getting my body to a place where it can handle things besides meat. So it used to be that I, was thinking, well, when I eat these certain foods, these plant foods, I have, a poor response. My body doesn't feel good. Therefore, those foods must be bad. And I need to only eat the things that I eat and my body feels good. And that's a great first step. Like if you're in a place of sickness, that's a great first step and it kind of clears away the noise. But what I've learned in the last couple of years is that there are actually things that you can do to your body, to help it handle things better. So instead of just saying, this food hurts my stomach, therefore I should never eat that, think, is there any way that I could make my body healthier such that when I eat that food, I don't have that reaction and I can actually function after I eat a serving of Brussels sprouts, and there are things that you can do. And depending on where you are in your health journey, some of those things might be accessible or not. And so, it's hard to make those choices, like, how far down the rabbit hole do you go with, uh, trying to heal your body and going on different protocols, and like, you have to draw a line somewhere. And like for me, I can eat way more things than I used to be able to eat and still feel good. But then there are still things that are off limits for me that I know make me feel bad. Like, so it's not like I'm going to keep going until I'm able to eat Fruit Loops and, McDonald's French fries all day and feel fine. Like that's not an option. So like you have to balance it. Yeah, cutting down your diet to things that keep you healthy, and then also working on your body and your digestive system and your overall health in order to eat as varied of a diet as you can. So it's always like trying to figure out both of those things and like the balance there. The other thing about carnivore that I have heard a lot, and actually I listened to a podcast this morning, so it's really been in my head about this one other aspect, and that is the addiction part of it. Because a lot of people and a lot of like the OG carnivores, you know, from zeroing in on health so many years, it's been so many years ago now, they're like 100% carnivore, like never touch anything that is plant or sweet or, you know, it's like just super strict carnivores. And one of their reasons for being so strict is because they say, I'm an addict. I was addicted to sugar or addicted to food or addicted to processed foods. And I know that I can never touch that again. I can't even have stevia because if I do it, you know, I end up going crazy. So like, I feel like that's a completely legitimate choice. And if your life is more manageable, cutting everything out, so that you don't struggle with having to moderate things, because it is a struggle, then that's a perfectly legitimate choice for people to make. I do find it tricky though, because okay, so the podcast I listened to, or it was a live stream I listened to this morning, was with Dr. Lisa Wiedemann and Kelly Hogan. It was just recent that it came out.
And I think I saw that one come across my feed too, but I didn't actually take the time to watch it yet.
Yeah, and I also just listened to another one by Dr. Lisa Wiedemann, and they're two that are just 100% strict, and they don't have cheat days. You know, they
no
don't
deviations.
Yeah. Well, so Lisa Wiedemann was telling a story in one of them. I forget which one, but she was saying that early on in her carnivore journey, she went and did her annual nectarine or peach picking with her kids, and then came home and had some and realized that her behavior around the peaches was not sober behavior. That's the term that she uses for it, where like she ate a little bit and she wanted to eat, you know, all of
more.
them. Yes. And so like I hear that and I recognize that struggle, but to me that seems like a extremely normal and natural response to finding fresh fruit. Like, because she was talking, you know, there was another point where they were talking about you would never come across stevia in nature unless you like found a leaf and were chewing on it, but you never find it in these powders. Like, it's just so unnatural. But then in my mind, I'm thinking it's extremely natural to have been eating only meat for however long, come across a piece of fruit, and your body tell you need to eat as much of that as you can. Like that doesn't seem disordered to me. That seems completely normal.
Yeah.
And I recognize wanting to avoid that. Like that, I'm not saying that her strategy of just not taking the first bite is bad. I definitely don't think that. But just like the understanding of the situation, I would not say that is addict behavior or disordered. It seems completely normal to me.
Or even if it's not normal, it's typical.
Yes.
Like that's sort of like a hardwired thing. When I was reading the book Drop Acid, that was all about uric acid. That was sort of one of the premises, was the fact that when your body is going into a winter season, your body says, give me all the fructose that I can get so that I can store that, because that's what it does in your body. It just has a back door to the liver to be made into fat cells so that you can survive the lean times. And so it's a very typical thing for like animals in nature to sit there and like eat gobs of those things. If they find it, they eat it.
Yes.
And so to consider that to be like, okay, well, I need to rise above this and be better than what my body is dictating is kind of a slippery slope of thought. Like I can personally eat a cup of raspberries and not feel quote unquote triggered to go off and eat an entire box of cookies that are just regular old white sugar, white flour cookies. I don't find that to be true for myself.
Yes.
But also I haven't been giving myself the narrative of I'm an addict. And I do think how we talk to ourselves, it's not the only piece to the puzzle, but it is a piece, and that piece does matter. It helps to not like fixate on the fact like I'm an addict. Like I know I talk a lot about how I'm an extreme kind of personality. I don't moderate. And the more that I tell myself that I don't moderate, the more I lean into the fact that like, oh yeah, you're a little bit excessive. Like, oh yeah, you're very excessive. You only go with one end of the spectrum to the other. There's no in between. And so the more that I sit there and tell myself that, the more that my brain solidifies that that is my reality. And I don't allow myself to learn how to become closer to a point in that spectrum that's a little bit more moderate. Yes. And I'm not saying that moderators are better than extremists, and I'm not saying the other is true either. Mm-mm. I'm saying that having the flexibility to say like, sure, I can have these tendencies, but I can also have self-control, or I can also learn how to be moderate in certain situations, and I can still move forward with my life. Like I have that capacity to learn how to become that way. And part of that is my own mindset. And I don't want to like be all like woo woo about that, because I know that that can get into some territory that's questionable at best. But just the idea of not constantly saying to myself like, oh, you're only capable of being an extremist. I used to only think I was capable of eating sugar. And I have shifted that paradigm for myself to where I am capable of eating in a way that doesn't cause me the inflammation, that doesn't cause my skin to hurt, that doesn't cause my jaw to hurt because of the sugar. So it's like you're capable of learning to do so many more things. And the concept of it being an addictive behavior to have some berries or to have a peach or a nectarine, that gets into some territory where it sounds like it's a lot more mental than physiological.
So I totally agree with that mental part of it. And I do think there's another part of it that I was thinking about because say, for example, because the sober behavior, term is what I've been thinking about. And talking about like, with dairy and with, it's like, this is a food that I don't have sober behavior around. So I was thinking like, okay, say there was someone that was starving, and they have not eaten in a week. And all of a sudden there's a banquet in front of them. The way that they respond to that banquet is not going to look like sober
behavior.
But they're not an addict. Like you wouldn't have started them. Oh, you're so addicted to eating that you can't control yourself when there's food in front of you. Like, no, like the condition of their body is dictating the way that they are acting around food. And I know for me, when I did strict carnivore for 3 months, and I did it without sweeteners. I did have dairy, but I did it without any sweeteners. There was one point like at the end of the 3 months where I was like, I'm going to allow myself to have a little bit of ice cream with the kids on a special occasion. I could not control myself. Like I could. I don't like that kind of terminology of I can't control myself. I could have, but it was very, very difficult for me to control myself with that ice cream. And it's like I couldn't stop. I felt like I couldn't stop. I don't feel that way now. When it's not like that's just the way I am whenever there's ice cream around.
Yeah.
There was something that happened to my body in those 3 months that put me in a state where I felt like I could not control myself around that ice cream. And so I hear, people talk about, I can't drink Element because it's sweetened with stevia, and I would just drink 7 of them in a row because I'm such an addict with sweetness. And I'm like, and that could completely be true, and I don't wanna say that my experience is anybody else's experience. That could be true, but I have to, like, process it for how I apply that to myself. And for me, I feel like way more of an addict when I am doing BBBE, or like when in September when I cut my diet down, I was like, I felt like an addict at that point, and there was times where it's like, if I allow myself to, like, take the first bite of that, I'm gonna eat the whole thing,
Mhm.
but that's not because of some way that I am inherently, it was because of the state I put my own body in. So anyways, I've been thinking a lot about this because, um, it's like I want it to be as simple as,
Just
if
eat meat.
yes, and if you want to conquer, your, food issues, cutting out everything that you struggle with is gonna be the answer. Like, that's just so black and white. It's just so easy. But what I found in my and I've tried to do that. Like, I have gone through trying to make that happen, and every time I get to the point of feeling like my addiction is addiction, I'm using that, like, air quotes for that. It's worse. Like, it makes it worse for me. And then when I watch, people talk about struggling with not being, if I take a sip of something sweetened, or if and struggling with dairy, that's a big thing in the carnivore world, where it's like I have to completely not touch dairy, or um or else I'm eating the entire block of cheese. It's like, would you really feel that way if there was some way that you were eating that was, and I hate to use the term balanced, but if it wasn't so extreme? Because I know for me, having a little bit of carbs, like, and not a lot, like 30, and allowing myself to have stevia and things like that, like, I don't feel the need to overeat anything.
Sure.
I mean, aside from maybe, like, that time of the month where, all of a sudden there's some cravings, but even that is not that bad. But
Intolerable.
yeah,
It's manageable.
consistently, when I push myself to control, like, reduce down my diet, whether it be by, um, variety of food or amount, like calories, that's when those tendencies come out of me to want to overeat. And it's like my capacity for overeating, like, grows exponentially with how much I restrict. And it's obviously like a U-shaped curve, because I'm not saying that if I went to, fast food diet, that I allowed myself to really eat anything, that I would not want to overeat. If I eat I know that there's certain foods that if I eat, it causes me to want to overeat. But within this little
Realm.
keto realm, with the variety of food that I have found that, I enjoy and that works well with my body, eating within that, I would never describe myself as an addict.
Mhm.
I would never I don't I mean, even with things like dairy and stuff, I don't feel like I h I have the desire to way overconsume it.
Mhm.
But as soon as I start cutting things out, then it's like, "Oh, man, I can't stop with the dairy." And it's like, "What is that?" Anyways, so that's all been going on in my head, and I'm trying to just
tease it out,
to think through it, because like the argument sounds so simple and so true. Like if you struggle with being able to moderate these foods, cut them out, and then you won't have that problem. For me, I found that that's not the case.
Yeah.
That I tend to over fixate on
the thing you can't have.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would try to, I mean, I know we're like at time here.
We are, yes.
When you're talking about those things, it makes me think of like when you have relationships in your real life, like not on the internet where you can block people or eliminate people from your visual perspective, like real life people that you have to deal with on either a regular or a semi-regular basis that may not be your cup of tea, or who may make you feel more frustration with situations, or who make you feel less than your optimal self. You can't just get rid of some of those people. If you've got an outside of the house job and it's your boss, you can't just get rid of that person. And trying to learn how to live with that as part of your life is what you have to do. And I kind of see that with like some of these food things. Like if this food makes you like think that you're an addict, then just eliminate it entirely from your life. But then it's like you drive down the road and oh, there happens to be Bojangles or Taco Bell or any other chain restaurant that might have those bad foods, those scary, dangerous drug foods for you. And you cannot pad yourself in a bubble and still consider yourself a whole human being with the idea of whole health involved. And so it's like you can learn how to work within the confines of reality, or you can choose to pad yourself in a little space that's like your realm of protection. And I think that it makes us weaker as people when we choose to completely eliminate anything of discomfort from our lives. We can't learn how to be as resilient when we choose to eliminate everything. And I, for one, I'm not going to go out and eat a banana. I'm not going to go out and eat some chocolate chip cookies that are regular from the store shelf. I'm not going to do any of those things. Right. But I'm also not going to look at a plate full of Brussels sprouts and say, oh, if I eat 3 of those Brussels sprouts, I'm addicted and I need to be punished for it. I've got penance to pay. I'm gonna die. I've overdosed on Brussels sprouts. I'm not gonna consider that to be very sound logic. So I can fully respect. Everybody has the right to choose their dietary preferences or their dietary restrictions, and I'm happy to honor those things. Especially like if it's somebody that's like here coming to my house for food, or if I'm going to someone else's house and bringing food, I'm going to respect those terms of the relationship. Yeah. I'm not going to play into them myself by saying, oh yeah, I, me too. Or I'm not going to jump into carnivore. I am going to say that I love meat and I'm going to eat meat. And I'm also going to say like, I like a little bit of variety in my life as well. Yeah. And so there's that. Yeah. And so just real quick, because I know that we do need to wrap up here, but I'm challenged by like listening to these podcasts and YouTube lives and stuff, because I don't want to be an addict. And one of the things that one of the arguments is that you don't know how addicted you are, and so like my thought is like, how do you walk that? Like, I don't want to just have blinders on and be like, I'm totally fine with it, and it actually really be a problem. And so like, for example, with the coffee thing that I mean, there was a sense in which I was in bondage to coffee because I thought that it would be so horrible. My reaction would be so horrible if I cut it out. I felt like I needed to have it every day or else my day would be ruined. Like there was a sense in which I was in bondage to it.
And now that is broken, like I'm not having an addict mentality about coffee. Like honestly, like it's really crazy because it's so different from where I was a month ago, 2 months ago. It's like I can drive by the coffee shop and there is like this ritual, like when I'm out, I want to go get a coffee, but then when I think about it, I'm like, but I don't really want a coffee. I don't really want it anymore. Like there's something that like there was an addiction that was broken to coffee. And I'm like, I kind of want to test other things just to see if there's anything like that at play. And so like, so I don't know. I want to communicate that I'm not just saying like cut and dry, I know any of these things. Like this is my thought process, like going through trying to figure out like, am I an addict? I don't think so. You know, all of this. But I do think like I do want to like play with it. So I'm considering trying to go sweet free for a little while. And I honestly think that a sign of health for me would be to either eat sweet or not eat sweet and be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think so. I think that, you know, if you have to not eat sweet to be fine, there's a problem there. And maybe that's the reality for some people. And it's worth it for them to, you know, to choose not to. But I think for me, and I'm just going to say for me.
Yeah.
I think it would be a sign of health for me to be able to partake in anything really without it ruling me. Either partaking in it or not partaking in it. And neither of those things should ruin my life.
For sure.
So I'm curious about playing with a few things and just maybe building that muscle of being okay with or without. And doing the coffee experiment has like given me confidence, I guess, that okay, this is doable. It's not like I just give up coffee and then I'm craving coffee forever. I did actually kick something.
Yeah.
There was something that I was able to eliminate. So anyways.
And you're still able to have a cup of decaf every once in a while and not feel like you have to have everything.
Yeah, well, and I have the decaf and I drink half of it, like this cup right here, and I'm like, I don't even want it. Like I don't even want the rest of it.
Sure.
And not even like, oh, I wish it was regular. It's I don't even want it. Crazy. Okay, so I know you need to go.
Yep, we got makeup, writing lessons to manage.
Yeah, we have a eye school today, vision therapy. Anyway, so we've got a busy
really
time.
Quickly, anybody who showed up late, hello.
Yes, so hello everyone. We did give an important announcement at the midpoint of this video.
Right. So check your replay.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you it again because you got to go work for it. No, anyways, yeah. I think that's it. Is that it?
I think so. Very much so.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Go ahead and comment in the regular video comments, like your thoughts, because we like talked a whole bunch and then we didn't even look at
right. I was going to suggest that too.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the carnivore situation and how do you like, in light of the things that we've discussed, what are your thoughts? Because we could easily follow up next week on this very topic.
We could probably do this topic for months and never.
I know. And that's why last week I was like, we're going to have to probably like punch the pause button on that one and keep it for the next round.
Yes. All right. Thanks for joining. We will see you again next week. Same time, same place.